Hello and welcome to the Critically Clueless. Today we are going to be reviewing WWE 2K 2022. Now this game came out a little minute ago. Unfortunately I had COVID when it very first came out, so I'm kind of playing catch up with it. This game is the 9th game to be published by 2K Games. And of course, this is usually a yearly installment. However, last year it did take a little bit of a break to kind of polish the game up, and it is back now with 2K22 and boasts a redesigned game engine. Now, this installment does come with a number of different options for gameplay, but it's got to be in the actual gameplay that this game does win you over. And I've got to admit, for a wrestling arcade simulator, this is probably the best kind of gameplay you want to see. It has a number of different wrestlers in it. A lot of them you will know and love. This is kind of up to date with the present day roster, which is kind of cool. So there's a lot of extra people in that if you're not currently up to date with wrestling, you're probably not going to know who they are, but there are enough of the old school wrestlers within the game again for you to kind of pick up and take one of your favorite wrestlers and jump into some kind of mayhem of a match. Now, normally in a big match like this, the controls would be extremely clunky on who you're going to be looking at, who you're going to be attacking, how you're going to attack them, and kind of bumping into everything. I didn't really find that being a major problem. In fact, I found that the UI was kind of the best of any of these games I've ever played. Switching from, one wrestler to another to attacking them was so smooth, unbelievably smooth. Worked really, really well. I'm kind of used to a mechanic where I'm toggling who I'm looking at, who I'm going to attack, but the computer kind of has a really, really good understanding of what it is I want to do when I'm doing it. I was very impressed with that, actually. And the wrestlers' interactions with the ring, with objects, with, foreign objects and all kinds of different combinations of actions are very, very, very good. It really does create a very smooth gameplay, which I really enjoyed. I have been a fan of wrestling games since probably the first one that's ever come out. I've watched wrestling since back in the Attitude Era, and I'm very familiar with all of the old school wrestlers, plus the new school wrestlers. I also have kids that have grown up enjoying wrestling. We watch the new shows, and we were very excited to play this game. And when it comes to actually, the old school sitting on a couch, two-player co-op, tag team matches, it's a lot of fun, and you can have a lot of fun playing this game. And it really is nice to see it all working so smoothly. I think the break that they took last year has really helped with the gameplay development of this game. They've also, in certain scenarios, simplified what it is you do. For instance, you used to be able to only reverse a fixed amount of things. Now you can do an unlimited amount of reversing if you're able to do so. They've also introduced a few extra techniques which kind of change the way you reverse in this game as well. They've also changed again how you perform your finishes and your specials and stuff like that. And they've kind of gone back to old school when it comes to pin counts and submissions as well, where it's gone back to button smashing to whether you get up or kick out. All of which, within my time of playing, I've actually thoroughly enjoyed. And of course, you have got the old classic where you can create your characters. I want to touch on that really briefly because unfortunately, although you kind of have a huge amount of, area to play with when it comes to creating your character, it takes a painful amount of time to load each new individual thing that you're adding in on your character. And I don't really understand why it's quite like that. Now I think would be a good time to talk about the showcase mode. Every 2K game seems to have a showcase mode, and this time round it's actually Rey Mysterio showcase, and it's actually a brilliantly done. So you start off as Rey Mysterio, starting right from the beginning of his career all the way up to present day. You kind of go through his most famous matches, what kind of made or broke his career, and all the way you're going along through it, it's kind of done in a documentary type of style, and you actually have Rey Mysterio, kind of talking you through his famous matches, what they meant to him, that sort of thing, and I loved every second of it. If you perform certain moves within the match, it kind of cuts to real footage of the match and then back into your match. It's done so well. However, for me, at times it is extremely frustrating. This isn't a mode you're going to be wanting to start the game off with, especially if you haven't played this game before, if you're not familiar with the new mechanics. Again, I'm someone who's played almost every single wrestling game ever, but I still struggle to perform half the moves because of course they have changed a lot of the controls. So when it's asking you to perform specific moves, at times I found it incredibly frustrating. You kind of have to perform an A to Z of list of moves in order to get all of the rewards that you can throughout the showcase mode. And unfortunately, it can be extremely tedious at times. That being said, showcase mode is one that I did enjoy. I enjoyed the documentary side of it. I enjoyed learning about these different matches from Rey Mysterio, what they meant to him, and that kind of thing. I do think it's a really good mode, but it's not one that I would jump into without actually playing the game first. They also have the familiar mode of My Rise, and is probably the best starting point within the game. You get to create some kind of monstrosity of a character, choose his background, whether you want him to be MMA, wrestling, whatever it is you want him to be, and go through kind of like an RPG style wrestling career mode. This again is a mode that I did actually quite enjoy. I do think that they're kind of missing a few things to make it better, but overall it has all the makings to kind of get you into the game, playing the game, understanding the controls, earning your first titles, making alliances, and actually earning points like RPG style as well. But the big kind of header within this game has to be my GM mode. Now, I love my GM mode. For anyone that is familiar with these games, this mode has been in these games before. And so I was quite excited to kind of jump back in when you very first kind of choose your show and who you're going to represent, whether it's Shane McMahon or Stephanie McMahon or something like that. You can then go through a draft and draft your roster, and then build up your show, plan your matches, plan where it's happening, what you're going to be using, who's going to be your champions, and kind of manage your roster while earning points against this show that you're going up against. Unfortunately, you can only go up against one show. I thought that was a bit unfortunate. If you choose Raw, you can only go up against one other show, be it SmackDown or NXT, and it's a bit of a shame really, because I kind of want to go up against them all at the same time as they would in real life, or I would like to go up against more besides. Where is WCW? Where is ECW? Why can't we go up against these shows as well? These things just aren't in the game, and I don't really understand why, because they have been in the game before, and it just feels a bit of a shame, really. On top of that, in GM mode, you can only make 3 shows a night. I think that's a huge mistake. You can also only have 2 champions. You can have a female champion and a male champion, but you can't have tag team champion, can't have intercontinental, US, or hardcore. And it's a bit of a shame. I think that the GM mode is kind of a skeleton mode. There should be a lot more to it, and unfortunately there just isn't. And I feel like they missed the ship on this one. On top of that, this game has an awful lot of microtransactions as well. You could spend an embarrassing amount of money in this game if you choose to do so. So be a little bit warned about that. I'm not going to go too much into it, but they are present, and I personally don't like it. Also, I found that a lot of characters that should be in this game, just they're kind of stuck behind some kind of payment system. There's an in-game currency where you can earn, 100 points, for instance, for winning a 5-star match, but it costs 1,000 to unlock certain characters, and there's a lot of those characters, a lot of familiar characters locked behind that screen. So it's going to take you a long time of in-game grinding to kind of unlock those characters, and that is a little bit of a shame. On top of that, I kind of failed to mention at the beginning of this video just how much this game actually costs. Now, I personally got the £60 base version of this game, but if you want the full game, if you want everything this game has to offer, you are looking at £105. £105 for the full game, and you still don't get everything that you could have within the game. Like I said, this game has those microtransactions, and there's going to be a lot of in-game grinding to unlock every single character as well. Quite frankly, this game is not worth that kind of money. I don't think it's kind of worth those AAA rated prices of £60 either. I think this game's missing quite a lot, and for the actual, main basic mode, that you kind of play co-op on the couch with your family and friends, then this game just isn't worth what it's written up as. As a long-time fan, I found myself a little bit disappointed by what I got with this game. That being said, the gameplay itself, if you're, just having a basic match, is a lot of fun. But when it comes to actually playing the in-depth side of this game, something that you want a little bit of a bite in, everything just falls a little bit short, unfortunately. And that's why I'm going to give this game a 7 out of 10. I can't take away from just how much fun you can have in a wrestling match, how well it can work, and how well the wrestlers interact with the different things within the game. Sound quality, visuals are on point. However, unfortunately, the game's lacking seriously in certain places, and I think it's taken absolute liberties in other places as well. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this game. If this is one that you've played, is this one that you're going to be staying away from? Let me know down below, because I'd be very interested to know what you guys think. And if you've made it to the very end of this review, a big thank you to you. And don't forget to comment red banana down below just to confuse all those that didn't make it. And guys, that is the end of this video. So if you've enjoyed it, hit that like button and of course subscribe to the channel. And until next time, happy gaming.